Hello and welcome to Whining About Books, where I review a good book with a stiff drink in my hand. My name is Paige Love, and I am a lover of literature, a purveyor of prose, an evaluator of exposition, and a connoisseur of composition. And to sum all of that up, I am someone who really, truly enjoys reading books. Now, we have a very special episode tonight. I want to introduce Whining About Books' very first guest, my own mother, Nikki Walls. Check out her pajamas. Lift up your foot for the shoes. With the feathers and everything. I love it.
Oh, all right.
All right. So tonight's book is going to be Tom Lake by Ann Patchett. It takes place in 2020 during the COVID lockdown, and it is a mom telling her daughters, her three daughters, about one of her loves, one of the great loves of her life, I guess, and basically telling about her life before she had kids. So anyway, I'm very excited to do this with my very first guest, my own mom. So grab your drink if you have it, and grab your
drink.
grab your book if you have it, and grab your drink because I know you got it. And let's whine about books.
All right.
Welcome to Whining About Books, where I review a good book with a stiff drink in my hand. Okay, so Mom, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a mom of four, a grandmother of a slew of grandchildren, and it's truly a blessing. And I'm just so happy to be here visiting with you guys. And when Paige said, "Let's read when you come to visit, let's read a book together," and I said, "Absolutely." So I perused Target, and of course the flowers. Anything that's nice and fresh and looks like it's going to be an easy read is what I'm going to usually gravitate to. I'm very much a romance novel reader, but I love feel good stories too, but nothing too sad. I don't like a lot of sad. I don't want the emotions all over the place. But what grabbed my attention is because the mom with the daughters, and I have four children, two girls, two boys. But when it talked about the daughters, I just I thought this would be good for Paige and I to read together, and I wouldn't let her choose the book because it would be too heavy for me. I'm a light reader. I'm an avid reader, but I read lightweight books. So
Okay. Well then, tonight's drink does have a little bit to do with the book. The plot or the scene, a lot of the scenery takes place on the family's cherry farm. So tonight we have a drink. It has cherry liquor and then lemonade, so a cherry lemonade basically, and then we have tonic water, and then we have like a nice cocktail cherry maraschino, the dark cherries, not the bright red ones. So let's give it a taste and see how it fares. It's it's a little tart, a little sweet. The bubbles from the tonic water, very refreshing. Little maraschino cherry, little
something is giving it a little bit of a bitter taste though, and I like the combo with that together.
I think it's a little bit, the cherry liquor has like a bitter in or a bitter back in, and then I put a little bit of the syrup from the maraschino cherries in there, so it's gonna have a little bit of that kind of silky, syrupy
I like it.
taste,
I like
tart
it a lot.
taste. So anyway,
it's an excellent summer drink.
Yes, it is. So we are going to talk about the major theme of the book first. So go for it.
The major theme of the book.
Yeah.
Okay. The major theme of the book would be basically what you said. The mom is telling the story of her life before their dad, before she got married and had her three daughters.
Right.
And and it gives all the details of how the girls feel hearing the story, what their questions are, what their thought processes are, and it's like I said, it's light, it's airy. Yeah.
So, and she touched on like the mom telling her story before she met their dad and had kids. So they have three daughters, Emily, Maisie, and Nell. They're all in their 20s. And the characters themselves, at this they're kind of in this like back and forth about their mom's love story. So she told them, or their father told them, that their mom dated a very famous actor.
Mhm.
So now they want to hear the story. They want to
Yeah.
hear the story. And they're so hung up. These daughters are so hung up in this story, trying to almost at certain points tell the story for their mom, or
Mhm.
interpret
Mhm.
the story that their mom actually lived,
Yeah.
and almost catering that interpretation to their own personalities in a way.
Okay. Okay.
Does that does that
Okay.
make sense?
Mhm.
Emily takes it a different way. Maisie, like she said, Maisie is the more logical one. So
Mhm.
Maisie kind of takes that logical
Yeah.
stance. Nell kind of tries to look at the bigger picture, and Emily is very self centered
Very.
in her analysis of um her mom traipsing through life. That's almost how
Yeah.
she takes it. Um, and what gets me is their age. They're they're so hung up on this story, like, oh my gosh, mom, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
So you loved him, and it's almost hard for me to wrap my mind around that, because like I was telling you earlier, I had those thoughts when I was a little girl and I saw your picture at Granny and Papa's house of you at the dance with another man.
Mhm.
And I was like, who is this man? This is not my father. And you're like, oh no, he took me to the dance. We dated a little bit. And I was like, what is that? What do you mean? This is not. And, my mom explained it to me, like, no, before your dad, like
Mhm.
I dated other guys. And I was just like, huh? Like, that's a thing. And then, she further explained, and I was like, oh, okay, well, yeah.
But you were how old?
I had to be like 7 or 8.
And these
And
girls
they're
are in their
in their
20s.
20s, and for some reason they can't wrap their mind around
Right.
uh
And they're in their 20s and like literally have come from a really good and wholesome
a very
life.
wholesome life.
And so it's as if um Emily, the oldest, wanted some type of drama in her life, and she was able to take this on and make it be the drama in her life and cause all kinds of drama in the home. And even at this age, good, age,
Hmm.
she's still trying to hold on to this thing and
Yes.
make it a thing. And it's
Yes.
just, I mean, like the mom even says things like, that is not what happened.
Yeah. And so what we're talking about, without giving too much of the story away.
I don't mind giving it away.
Yeah, but
Oh,
some of
okay.
the viewers don't want that. So without giving too much of the story away, Emily, when she was younger, about 12, when they found out that their mom uh dated this famous actor for a summer, a
Mhm.
summer
Right.
3 months, um she like took on this mindset that, oh, that's my dad, my dad who's been raising me is not my real dad. Wreaked havoc in that household, havoc.
Yes.
Hated everybody, was going on. And let me be clear that I couldn't we wouldn't be able to do that.
Oh no.
No. The
No.
disrespect to your father, to our dad, would be
Yeah.
uncalled for. The
Uncalled for.
disrespect to you,
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
and it's not that. And even the mom, her name's
Laura.
Laura. Yeah.
She changed her name
Yeah, she
totally.
changed her name. Her name was Laura. She dropped the U when she became an actress. Laura was telling her, no, Joe is your dad. He's always been your dad.
Right.
Like, the space between me
It's
dating.
like they romanticize
Yes.
and just to have what they would consider a more exciting life, but so
Hmm.
unnecessarily.
And I try and be of the mindset that I try and be of the mindset that you know people people go through trauma and tragedies. It may not look as heavy as some other people, but I cannot necessarily discount that.
Mm-hmm.
But just for context, Emily, the whole father, that's her trauma.
Yeah.
At 9 years old, her family, like I said, they own a cherry farm, cut down trees that weren't producing
and had to burn
and
them
had to burn them. And I hate you.
and said
I
to
hate
never
you.
forgive
I'll
them.
never forgive you guys for cutting down and burning cherry trees that weren't producing, because guess what? This is their livelihood. They
Right.
need trees to produce cherries. And Emily ends up going to school and taking horticulture classes because she's going to take over the farm. So even as she's going through those classes, she should and
Right.
does get
Right.
the understanding of why this needs to happen. And even still, she holds on to this hate.
Yeah.
She was the most frustrating
in her
character.
20s, she said, "I'm still having a hard time forgiving you guys
For burning trees."
Like what, ma'am, sir? And
right,
hush your mouth, be quiet.
she was like, "You guys made a party about it. The neighbors came over. You guys were drinking beers." It's like, yeah, because that's what a bonfire is. You know what I mean? So,
oh my gosh.
Out of the three sisters, Emily, Maisie, and Nell, Emily, like we said, is the more emotional one. Maisie is the more logical one, and Nell wants to be an actress like her mom was. And so she's more of the tries to understand the bigger picture and understand people for what they've been through and who they are.
They also in early on wanted to make Laura out to be one who regrets.
Right, and she does not regret.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Loving this life.
Yeah.
It's the life I want to live. And it just really speaks to, how children see their parents, and how parents, we can go through life not having explained things. And by no means am I saying that you need to explain each and everything, but I'm saying not having explained things, and the children are left to make up their own scenario. But I would think that once you get older, you're able to kind of put one and two together to get three. If you would come outside of yourself. Emily would not come outside of herself.
Right.
Maisie did the better job of coming outside of herself and seeing her parents as human, and how the stories could develop into what they are today.
Emily has a huge "I'm the main character" type of mindset. Like everything that happens affects her.
Yeah.
It doesn't, and she feels like, or she's portrayed in the way that everything that everyone else does affects her life, and what she does and how she behaves is the result of those causes and effects. And I'm just like, you're
and she doesn't care how her decisions affect anyone else's life.
Right. I'm just like, I can't imagine the hurt and rejection her dad must have felt.
He sure didn't act like he felt it.
He sure did not act like.
Right.
So let's speak on that. So I feel like a lot of these characters in this book are one-dimensional.
They are.
Except for, as you read, as the story goes on, Joe, which is the father, is probably the character who has the most dimension to his personality. But you're kind of seeing those different dimensions of his personality through the storytelling. Like, he's not Laura is telling this story. The mom. So we understand Joe from what she says about him. And as the story progresses, you see Joe in this one light, and then you're kind of, the cards are flipped and you're like, oh, right. So like I said, not giving away the story, but Joe ended up being the surprise for me. And there's not a lot of surprises.
Let me be clear. It's on a small scale surprise.
It's
but
not a big
nonetheless, it's a
surprise.
surprise.
Right. So when we speak of small scale surprises and how the book is written, how do you feel about the writing style and the storytelling of the book?
I'm bored. I'm just bored. And the other thing that we talked about this a little bit. So I would think that Laura is about 60. I'm 54. So if Laura is 60 today, then that means in 2020 she was about 50. But Laura writes and tells the story as if she was on Tom Lake in the
And
1950s.
yeah, the story is definitely written like that. There were times where I had to remind myself, like, oh, we're further along in time. We're because she goes back, like we said, talking about her life. I'm like, we're
Because
in the
Laura
80s. We're not in the
20,
50s. Mm-hmm.
in her 20s,
Mm-hmm.
when she's at Tom Lake doing the play. Um, and so when she tells this story in 2020 to her daughters, she's about 50 years old. But she tells the story as if I keep picturing Dirty Dancing.
Okay, I've never seen that movie.
You never seen Dirty Dancing?
No, but I know, like,
It's the 50s.
yeah, okay.
It's the 50s. It's the 60s. Um, and I mean, she's telling it like,
Like, yeah, like we're
so just
so
think if she's in
much
her
further back in the
yeah, if she's
past.
in her 20s and she's 60 now, what is that, 1990?
It's got to be like late 80s, maybe.
Okay, late,
Yeah,
yeah, 80s.
yeah, mid 80s.
She is talking like you don't see a glimpse of the 80s in here.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't
You
see a
don't.
glimpse of it. It is like Dirty Dancing. Like they are at the summer camp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was bored as well, and maybe that's kind of a blanket statement. Um, I will say this is a book that's easy to read.
Mm-hmm.
I find it very easy to read. The story, you know,
But it's not
it's
easy to complete.
right. And part of that is because, like, I found myself going, why are you telling this story? Like, like I feel like a story is written for a reason, and and obviously I feel that across all genres. So like for a romance book, the reason to read is to get to that, to see that couple,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or at least for me, to see that couple
Yeah.
together.
Win. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And this just kind of like, I was telling my mom, this is like if I was sitting on a bus bench and I just, looked at the person next to me and go, hey, tell me about one summer in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Right.
as they're telling
Right.
me, I decide to look at a tree. And then
Mm-hmm.
when they finish, I go, okay, bye. That's this book. It's This book is when you
Mm-hmm.
finish it and okay, bye. Like,
Right.
and
You remember it no more.
yeah, and I find that with some of these books on, because this is from Reese Witherspoon's book club. I know when they put their stamp, Oprah and Reese Witherspoon put their stamp on a book, that book is selling like
Mm-hmm.
hotcakes. But what I found is when I pick up a book like this that is on this book club, not all of them, but some of them, easy to read, easy to forget,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and that's just the reality of it for me.
So easy to
Sometimes,
forget. I was boarding the plane to come here and found my seat. Um, and the lady I'm sitting next to, she says, "Oh, Ann Patchett, Tom Lake." And I said, "Yeah." And so she was so excited about this book and the author, and that I was trying to get in my seat, and she's asking me questions, and I'm thinking, okay, well, wait a minute, because I need to get in my seat. I can answer those questions in a second. But anyway, she's rattling off her questions. She's like, "How do you like it? How do you like it?" And I said, "Well, it's a little slow for me." I said, "But it's nice and easy and breezy. She was like, yeah, she's like, I read that over a year ago. She said, I don't remember what it was about, but yeah, I read a lot of her books. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's forgettable.
Yes. And that might sound a little harsh,
And I don't
but it
mean
is a
that. I don't
personal
mean it like that,
opinion. Yeah.
Ann. I don't mean it
It's a
like that.
personal opinion because
Yeah.
I feel it easy to read, easy to forget.
Yeah.
I'm, and another reason why I checked it out at the library and did not go and buy it.
I did not. I
Yeah.
bought it.
Because this is,
$19.
it's something that if it's not going to be in my library,
Yeah.
so what? It doesn't bother me. It's not like there have been books where I've checked out at the library and gone, this is so good. I got to go out and buy the book because I want it in my library. Actually, the Robert Galbraith, Silkworm, Lethal White, Troubled Blood, and Cuckoo's Calling, which is the first book. I checked out the first book at the library, loved it, and so I went and bought the other books, which I haven't read this one yet. It's the fourth one. I think there's 5 or 6. But like that's what I mean. Like if I check out a book at the library, I'm like, this changed my mind on a genre, on an author.
What's this
On,
genre?
so it's murder mystery. And actually Robert Galbraith is J.K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter. But she didn't want her name to push the books forward. She wanted it to stand alone, like because this is a new genre that she's read. She wrote fantasy, so she was like, I don't want my name to be the reason why they go and buy the books. So she came up with a pseudonym, and people are still buying the books. They made a show out of it. Oh, good.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So, and this is one of the ones where I was like, oh, I think I like murder mystery. So I started getting into murder mystery.
Okay.
Yeah, but back to Tom Lake. Like I said, forgettable. We went and talked about a whole other author.
Oh, we gotta stop.
I would say my final rating of this book, if I had to give it out of 10, a 3 or a 4. If it's something that if you read heavier stories or you just finished a heavy story, this is nice and light. There's nothing really heavy about this book. The heaviest thing is Emily losing her mind and telling her real dad, you're not my dad.
Right.
My dad is the movie star.
Right. He wasn't even bothered.
Right. And also the movie star, Peter Duke, he wasn't like, the daughters were so hung up on this man, right. But the way the author wrote Peter Duke, who's Laura's summer love, he is not desirable.
He's a
like
dork.
And
nothing. He's got issues.
Yeah,
big issues.
Like nothing about him that she wrote made me go, I see the appeal. Because there's sometimes there's a character and you just know you would be bad for me. But I see the appeal. Yeah. There is no appeal to this man.
He greases his hair back and it's gross.
And I guess that part is relatable.
What?
I think I've dated a guy where I'm just you know what I mean. And we enjoyed ourselves, but after we broke up, I was like, it's like I came out of a fog. Like what was I doing? No disrespect to him. I hope he's doing well, but
I mean, anytime you got to go home and explain to your parent before they get there,
it's not gonna be a good.
She's like, Mom. And
what do you give it?
I'll give it
out
a 5.
10. Okay.
I'll give it a 5.
Okay.
I'll give it a 5 just because it met my basic criteria of easy, light, breezy.
Okay.
But I won't recommend it.
Yeah.
To nobody, because why?
And I'm definitely not going, oh my gosh, have you read Ann Patchett? No. Now, she's written a lot of books, so I'm not saying all of her books are like this. I might even come to a point where I check out one of her other novels. But given that if I check out that novel and it gives me the same feeling, I'm never picking up another book from her again. It's just not my cup of tea.
It looks like she's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. 3 more, right?
Yeah. So, but that's how I feel. That's how you feel. Yeah. And I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of
Yes.
newer installment where I'm able to have a guest. I do hope to be able to do more things like this in the future.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I had a lot of
Yeah.
fun, and you getting here and us, reading the chapters, reading some of the chapters
Yeah.
kind of at the same time, being able
Mhm.
to, break it down and talk to each other is always fun.
Mhm.
It's like having your own little mini book club for a book or two.
Yeah.
So, I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Mhm.
I hope you enjoyed our review. If you did, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and there
Yes.
will be many more book reviews to come. Okay. So please look out for my next video so we can whine about books.
Yes.
Good night.
Good night. Cheers.
Cheers.